wish of a star moon, a substance that mirrors only moonlight and starlight, and will disclose itself solely to someone who can speak the ancient languages of Middle-earth. The inscription on the door is written in an old form of Elvish and reads, "The doors of Durin, Lord of Moria. Speak, friend, and enter." Mithril silver. Only in the deepest mines of Moria, in the roots of the mountains, was this precious substance found. Other names for it are Moria silver and true silver. Its Elvish name is Mithril. It was prized more highly than gold, and from it the dwarves made a metal that was remarkably hard, yet wondrously light, as it has passed from one hand to another and into obscurity, believing that if he and his order find it, they themselves can make the best of it against the growing power of the Dark Lord. Saruman's home is Orthanc, a vast tower hewn from a solid pillar of unbreakable black obsidian, which rises to a great prong spire. The Tower of Orthanc stands at the heart of Isengard, the strategic fortress that lies in a commanding position between the Misty Mountains and the Cap of Rohan. Its main defence is a natural ring wall of stone that measures a mile or more from rim to rim, enclosing beautiful trees and gardens, watered by streams that flow down from the mountains, unknown to all but Saruman. Isengard is home to one of the rare seeing stones, the Palantir, a great ball of black stone with which the wizard is able to spy upon the whereabouts and fortunes of both allies and foes throughout Middle-earth. The caverns below Isengard hide another secret. Down there, a new breed of creature is being hatched, as Saruman plans to form an army of his own to rival the Dark Lords. The Dark Powers. Since his fall at the Battle of Dagorlad, Sauron has been regrouping his forces, even though he has failed to find again the ruling ring which he so treacherously forged, and which was taken from him by Isildur, the High King of Gondor, and then lost, seemingly forever. In the millennia that have passed since his fall, he has slowly but inexorably increased his great army of fell beings and rebuilt his fortress at Barad-dûr. His powers are now so strong that if he can lay his hands upon the One Ring once more, he will be able to break down all resistance in Middle-earth and cover all the lands in a second darkness. His eye ever seeks his ruling ring, and he has many servants upon whom to call, as his spies and soldiery. The greatest and most fearsome of these are the Nazgûl, known also as the Ringwraiths, but the forces of darkness include many fell creatures such as orcs and Uruk-hai, trolls and wargs, and other monsters. Orcs. Orcs are not a natural part of Middle-earth, for they were originally created by the Dark Powers. Long ago, in the First Age, elves were taken captive, tortured and mutilated in the dungeons of the Dark Lord, until they had been transformed from the most beautiful and noble of the world's folk into a ruined and terrible new form of life, orcs. These creatures multiplied until the Dark Lord had grown himself a monstrous army with which to oppose the free peoples of the world. Filled with his dark will, they were swarthy and stunted, vicious and evil, and bore little relation to their noble elven ancestors. Bred in darkness, they hate the light, and when they issue out to do their master's will, it is with demonic energy and cruel blades. Now in the Third Age, their kind has spawned such multitudes that they range widely across the world, and are often to be seen as far west as Mirkwood and the edges of the Golden Wood of Lothlorien, a province sacred to the elves. Others have colonised the great which they scuttle about like insects, using the spikes on their black armour to aid them in their movement up and down the walls and pillars of Khazad-dûm. Uruk-hai. Beneath the citadel of Isengard, in the caverns deep beneath its tower, the wizard Saruman has been breeding his own race of super orcs, an army to rival that of Sauron, the Dark Lord. By crossing orcs with goblin men, he has created a race of creatures of unparalleled power and brutality. These are the Uruk-hai, taller and straighter than men, massively muscled, black-blooded and lynx-eyed. Tireless and considerably more intelligent and powerful than the Moria orcs, they are a fearsome fighting breed, with their viciously efficient straight-bladed weapons and long-range bows. Led by Lurtz, the Uruk-hai of Isengard, and easily identifiable by the mark of the white hand of Saruman, which they bear in battle. The Nazgûl, the 9 servants of Sauron. The Nazgûl were once great kings of men, to whom Sauron gave 9 of the rings of power, and with them the promise of eternal life and dominion. They took the rings without question, but their greed blinded them to the Dark Lord's true nature and likely treachery. One by one they fell under the power of the ring, their bodies and souls corrupted by the Dark Lord's evil, till at last they ceased to be human and became instead insubstantial wraiths. Faceless and formless, they have been worn away to terrifying ghouls, shrouded in black robes and armour. Mounted upon their vast black, flame-eyed steeds, they are known as the Black Riders. Their weapons are not merely swords of steel and flame, nor their maces and Morgul daggers, which carry a deadly poison. Their black breath also infects with despair and terror all those who are touched by it. No weapons can harm them except for those made by the elves, and any blade that strikes them will perish. Recently, they have been seen in the vicinity of the Shire. And that ends the third part and the visual companion to the Fellowship of the Ring. I hope you've enjoyed that reading through this lovely illustrated book. This has been Kate at the Library of Whispers